What's up, y'all? I just wrapped up a rock solid London game, and I just wanted to run through it. It was 90% accurate. My opponent played all right. He played a Steinitz counter gambit, and I just want to run through some of the ideas I had. Again, the London is super effective because you just get a really sturdy position, and then you just have to come up with a couple basic ideas to try to win the game, and that's all I did here. So I'm playing d4. This is the London, getting my bishop out. And then I see this move every once in a while. I like to support my central pawn here with this pawn. The computer says this one's better. I prefer having this open than this one. My king's right there. I don't know. This feels safer to me, just the way that I play it. Either move is acceptable. And then I'm going to do this anyway, close off my pyramid. But I like opening this side. So the computer does say that is the better move. So I don't know why the other pawn push would have been better initially. But now I'm going to get my knight developed. But basically, I'm getting a pretty standard London setup here. My opponent's setting up to push this pawn into the center. I'm not too worried about that. Supporting that. Trades these bishops, which the computer doesn't like very much. Happy to have both my bishops over here. I'm just going to take this pawn. This one's going to come over. He's got two central pawns, but thinking this pawn could be a target. I've got an open file here for me eventually. And I'm pushing back there. I just jumped my bishop out here. This was the best move. Interesting. So I just wanted him to push this pawn. So I gave a check, and he's going to have to push the pawn, and I just think that weakens the structure in the long run. So that was an idea there. And dropping the bishop back, supporting this pawn with the queen, I guess wasn't a good move. But so as you can see, I already have like a pretty substantial. Wow, I had a way larger advantage. Okay, so I already had a 2.2 advantage, and I actually lost a lot of it by making this queen move. But I'm really just trying to support this pawn, planning on getting my knight out here to try to attack this pawn. That's what I'm thinking kind of the whole time. So I've got my solid London set up, and now I'm just finding a target to sort of aim for, and this backwards pawn looks like a target to me. So I'm going to be my entire game is going to be revolving around that pawn for a little while here. So the computer loves this move, starting to attack that pawn. Doesn't like castling from black. And I'm gonna move a rook to this file real soon. I guess it wanted me to do it immediately. I was just worried that if the bishop took, I'd have an isolated pawn here. So I wanted to support this pawn. I don't know. It just felt like if I eventually take here, I want this rook here to support this pawn because there's a bishop staring at it. So that was my thought process there. Okay, and then he pushes this pawn, just sort of forgetting about this pawn in the middle, and I'm stacking my rook up with the queen, planning on taking that pawn. Just completely ignores it. I don't know. He just didn't notice my plan at all, I guess. But this pawn is up for grabs. I'm taking it with the knight. You can take back with the knight. We traded knights now, and we're going to trade queens. I won a pawn, and now he has an isolated pawn in the middle of the board. So that's probably a lot of why this guy's game was so poorly rated. But I was just attacking the one thing that looked the weakest to me on the board, and I won it. And we traded a bunch of material, and now I have a big advantage. Tries to attack my rook, and this is where things kind of go off the rails for him, because when I move here, I'm forking the pawn and the knight, right? And it looks like this pawn is hanging, but if he goes and grabs that pawn, his knight is trapped. And he realizes this, and I realize it at the same time. So he tries to dive his knight in my position, which is not a good move. It gives up the pawn. I'm happy to take that. But now his knight is very trapped. I don't know if, I think he's probably a tempo ahead, but if he makes one wrong move, he's in some trouble because all of these squares are covered currently, right? So that's my next idea. He's going to try and trade off this rook so that his knight can make an escape. That's his plan here. I try to maintain my control of these squares. Computer says it's not the perfect move. I could have protected my rook and attacked the knight at the same time. But instead I move here, which is a perfectly safe move. Computer doesn't hate it. He tries to protect his knight. I think probably realizing that I realize that he doesn't have an escape right now. I'm worried about back rank mates here, so I just push this pawn, because if his rook gets over here, things are kind of scary all of a sudden. Like if I ever try to take this knight, there's a chance that I could get back rank mated. So I just push that pawn to try to avoid that. He pushes his bishop here to try to protect the knight as well. Or sorry, no, to attack this pawn. I don't care too much about that. I'm setting up this so that I can hopefully get my rook over here and take the knight. He could have attacked me here, and I realized that, but I just was hoping he wouldn't notice, honestly, and he didn't, which is kind of hilarious. So then I'm getting my rook over here, and the knight's completely trapped. I'm going to win the knight. He pushes this pawn for for really no reason at all. That just gives up a pawn here, and I'm just going to take that. And now he takes this pawn, but the knight is hanging. So I'm going to go ahead and take that. He trades the rook, which seems like a bad idea at this point. I'm up a ton of material. And so my two plans have really paid off, the two plans that I had in this game, and I'm just winning. I'm just playing the right moves, not playing difficult moves necessarily, but just playing the right ones and just trying to find plans and execute them. And it's worked so far. He gives a check that's not doing much. Starts pushing this pawn, which isn't a great idea because it's isolated. I can just run my rook over there and go try to grab that thing. And he tries to protect it with the bishop. Whatever, I don't really care. I can attack it with my bishop. And again, he's going to trade these pieces, which is just not a good idea. I win another pawn. Tries to attack my pawn or my bishop or whatever he's trying to attack here, but I'm happy to just connect these two. This also gives a check, which is just sort of the icing on the cake. But now these two pieces are completely safe. I can just leave them there forever and just try to maneuver the rest of my pieces. He jumps the king up here. There's kind of a beautiful tactic here, I think, or coming up very shortly. Yeah, right here, I think, that I missed. So now that it wants me to sacrifice the rook, this would have been really cool. Because if I sacrifice the rook, the king can take, but then on the next move, I can jump my bishop down here and check the king if the king's on that square, and I would win the rook right back. So I actually could have taken that pawn. But I just make a couple waiting moves, kind of just looking at my position, trying to figure out how I'm going to win this game. He gives up another pawn, which is strange, and I give a check, another check. These are just sort of me just making moves so that I can try to figure out what my plan is. And then this is the last move of the game. I think he was just hoping I wouldn't notice that he was attacking my rook. Even if I didn't notice, my rook's still protected, but I just take his rook and he resigns. And that's the game. That was the whole thing. He played at a 1,400 rating, I guess. I'm 1,300 rated, so I played at an 1,850 rating in this game, so that's rock solid for me, but that's what the London is. It's a rock-solid opening. All you have to do is just get into a position where you can trust that your pieces are communicating well, and you can just sort of slowly develop these ideas. And that's what happened here, and it was good to get a good solid win. And that's about it. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.